Gentlemen, I am highly delighted to welcome Mr. President and other distinguished personalities to this all-important occasion of Emblem launch for 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. This is in continuation of a worthwhile event which has its origin from the inspiration of a Canadian doctor, Lieutenant Colonel John McCree, who wrote the famous poem called The Flanders Field. His inspiration came from the growth of poppies in the battle-scarred sacred fields. Following the end of the First World War, the poppy was adopted as a symbol of remembrance. And it is for this reason that our nation set aside 15th of January of every year, which coincides with the end of the Nigerian Civil War, as the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. This is to pay solemn tribute to patriots who laid their lives in service to humanity during the First and Second World Wars, the Nigerian Civil War, peace support operation, and internal operations. Thus, the emblem being launched today symbolizes the sacrifices of these gallant men and women of our armed forces. Faced with myriads of security challenges in our motherland, our armed forces is working assiduously in concert with other security agencies to restore normalcy to Nigeria's multifaceted security challenges. Regrettably, some of our gallant officers and men have paid the supreme sacrifices in the line of duty. Many have also been incapacitated by a varying degree of injuries sustained. We therefore cannot be grateful enough as a country for these sacrifices. Even as certainly and surely as the end of all these challenges are in sight, and owing to the unwavering commitment of Mr. President and the renewed vigor of the Nigerian Armed Forces, we shall not forget the sacrifices of these patriots. As a consequence of conflicts and internal security operations, the widows and orphans of the fallen heroes continue to bear the brunt of the loss of their loved breadwinners. We shall continue as a government to ensure that the effect of their losses is cushioned. In this wise, the Minister of Defense and the service headquarters have continued to ensure the prompt payment of the entitlement and the death benefits of the deceased servicemen. Furthermore, the scholarship program for the children of the deceased up to tertiary level is being implemented. However, we call on the well-meaning corporate and non-governmental organizations to prioritize the elevation of the hardship faced by widows and orphans of our departed heroes. The emblem which Mr. President will launch shortly is a symbol of remembrance of the sacrifices of officers and men of the armed forces, a symbol of undiluted patriotism and total loyalty to the cause of our nationhood. Therefore, adorning the emblem is one way we can identify with this sacrifice. I therefore wish to implore our citizens to procure the emblems and wear them with pride as a sign of patriotism and support for the armed forces. I also enjoy corporate bodies to procure the emblem for their staff as well as make donations toward the cause of the veterans and families of the fallen heroes. Finally, I wish to call on all ministries, departments, and agencies of government to encourage their staffs and visitors to procure and wear the emblems with pride throughout the remembrance period. Thank you for listening, and God bless Nigeria.
Honorable Minister of Defense address. Your Excellency, Mr. President, it is time for you
actively engage in internal security operations, particularly the onslaught on insurgency in the northeast and other parts of the country, requiring the restoration of law and order. In the face of bodily and emotional injuries to themselves and logistic challenges, men and women of the armed forces of Nigeria remain committed to the daunting task of preserving security in Nigeria. It therefore behoves on us as a people to honor the memory of the valiant officers, men and women, who paid the supreme sacrifice for the unity of this country. We need to keep the memories of those we lost in the line of duty and provide good care for those who survived with varying degrees of incapacitation. The choice of 15th January as the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is symbolic because it marked the end of the Nigerian Civil War. The occasion gives cause for reflection and reminds us of the sacrifice made by our armed forces in preserving the unity of the country and highlights the need for us to guard this unity jealously. I hereby implore all citizens to refrain from detrimental actions and statements that threaten national unity and integration, but rather engage in positive actions that unite the country. The strength of our country lies in our diversity and endowment. We must do all within our means to preserve. Due to the methodological approach and the increasing military campaign to decimate and destroy subversive elements involved in destructive activities such as insurgency in the northeast, militancy in the Niger Delta, ethnic and religious tensions, and indeed other problems bedeviling the country, normalcy is gradually returning to some affected parts of the country. I would like to reiterate my earlier resolve to hand over Nigeria at the end of my tenure that is free from insecurity to the next generation of leaders, and with the gallantry and sacrifices exhibited by men and women of our armed forces in the campaign against insurgency and other security operations. I am confident the nation will be returned to normalcy as we will continue to battle decisively all the security challenges. The efforts of officers and men of the armed forces in tackling vices alien to our culture is commendable, as the spate of banditry, kidnappings, molestations, and killing of innocent citizens is being confronted head-on and is on the decline. I wish to assure Nigerians that this government will continue to reposition and strengthen all Nigerian security agencies to enable them to surmount the security challenges in order to provide a conducive environment free from threats and criminality to enable business rise in the country. Citizens and foreigners are guaranteed freedom and returns on their investments. I therefore call on business enterprises to appreciate the sacrifice offered by our gallant troops by extending support to our service personnel. This could come in form of discounts and rebates offered to them upon purchases and services rendered. I implore the management of hotels, schools, and airlines to key in to this patriotic act, which is the norm in countries around the world. I also call on more business outfits to take a cue from it, as this would act as a morale booster to members of the armed forces and assist in supporting the military in carrying out its statutory responsibilities. The federal government is committed to the welfare of our veterans by ensuring prompt payment of their pensions and other entitlements. To this end, I approve the payment of security debarment allowance to veterans with effect from 2017. However, in order to capture all veterans hitherto excluded from the payment of the security debarment allowance, I have approved a review of the effective date of the MAFA 2017 accordingly. I have also approved the sum of 134,749,953,243 naira 69 kobo only for that purpose. I am pleased to note that the Defense Health Maintenance Limited is living up to expectation in providing healthcare services to our veterans. Equally important is the expansion of the reach to our services through establishment of zonal and state offices and regular sensitization of veterans on the scope of their products and services. As a government, we will continue to prioritize the provision of quality health care services to our esteemed veterans and citizens at large. It is worthy to note that the Nigerian Legion, under the coordination and supervision of the Ministry of Defense, has continued to be a relaying point for veterans and has done its bit in catering for the welfare of their ailing members. I enjoin the leadership of the Nigerian Legion to continue in this spirit. As the Grand Patron of the Nigerian Legion, I wish to pledge my continued support and that of the federal government to the organization. My heartfelt appreciation goes to the state governors who are patrons in their respective states for the support they are giving to the Nigerian Legion. I encourage government agencies at federal and state levels to continue to patronize the services of the Nigerian Legion Corps of Commissioners in provision of security and other administrative services. The potentials of our ex-servicemen are enormous and can indeed be tapped for national development. It is in this light that I enjoin the Defense and Services Headquarters to continue to interface with the veterans in matters of security, intelligence, and strategy. The emblem that I will launch today remains a symbol of remembrance and a beacon of hope for a peaceful future, with the unspoken message to our fallen heroes that their sacrifice was noble for the greater good of our fatherland. It is also our humble way of appreciating the veterans and the families of their fallen colleagues. Therefore, I wish to recall on all Nigerians and non-Nigerians residing in the country, irrespective of their political affiliation or religious beliefs, to adorn the emblem with pride and identify with those who laid down their lives for the peace and security of our dear nation. I also encourage all to donate generously in support of our veterans and defendants of fallen heroes. On this note, my esteemed veterans, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to launch the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day Celebration Emblem and Appeal Fund. Thank you all, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Appreciate you for the donation that you've just made for the Legion. And to also indicate that even though you are part and parcel of us, that for us that are still serving, drawing from your inspiration, that we will support the Legion very handsomely. And indeed, I believe that the chairman of the Legion will smile afterwards. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Very clever.
Excellency, Mr. President, all other protocols duly observed. So on behalf of the Nigerian Police Force and other security agencies, which I will coordinate and get back to the chairman with the host sum of money.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, the Vice President, and other distinguished personalities here today. Again, let me join the Chief of Defense Staff first in thanking you for all the support that you have given and you have continued to give to the Nigerian Armed Forces, not just because you are also a general yourself, but also because you represent the entire country, Nigeria. And the demonstration, not just in act, but also in the donation of 10 million naira, I must say, is extremely commendable. On behalf of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee, where you have all the banks represented, you heard when the Legion themselves recognized the donations that Central Bank and the Bankers Committee has always given, and indeed very, very handsomely. So may I therefore hide on the protocols already set by the Chief of Defense Staff to say that yes, we will donate. We will credit account, no cash, no old currency or designed currency, but this time the accounts will be credited handsomely. We will also call on the Nigerian banks to also donate handsomely, and it will reflect handsomely also in the accounts of the Nigerian Legion. I thank you, Your Excellency, sir.
Very distinguished personalities here present. Mr. President, let me commend you for setting the ball rolling. I'm sure the Legion also knows that the National Assembly has been supportive. Your Excellency, I won't pledge anything here. I would rather go to the National Assembly and pledge from there to show that the legislature is also talking from its headquarters. But that will be something that will be very pleasing to the Legion. But before I sit, Mr. President, let me on a very serious note commend our armed forces for working so hard, for sacrificing so much, and commend you too, once again, for giving maximum support. And for us in the National Assembly, the 9th National Assembly, there is nothing that will approve for our armed forces and other security agencies that will be too much. We believe that we have to secure this country before we take our exit. And Mr. President, we are with you on this journey. You have promised several times that you will leave a safer and more secure Nigeria, and we believe that, and we will give you the maximum support that you need. Thank you very much.
Members of the Executive Council here present, may I, on behalf of the veterans of the Nigerian Legion, convey to our President, Commander-in-Chief, the appreciation of all veterans for all the support Mr. President has been giving us throughout your tenure as President. We cannot have it any better. All the goodies you have reflected in your speech and also in my minister's speech, that the Commander-in-Chief has given support to the veterans, will ever be remembered by the veterans, sir. On this note, without taking much time, sir, we want to pray on your behalf that may God, in His infinite mercy, grant you good health, long life, and the energy to lead our country successfully. Thank you very much, sir.
And that brings us to the end of the ceremony.
First of all, this entire event is for us for Mr. President to launch the appeal fund for the remembrance for the veterans of this country. And of course, you recall that the President donated a sum of 10 million naira for this. We in the legislature normally do our own contribution, but I always like to do that from the headquarters of the National Assembly. That is the National Assembly complex, because we are a separate arm of government, and I feel that this is not the right place to say what we will do to support our veterans. And I commended the President for spending, for providing so much funds for our armed forces to secure Nigeria. Of course, we have been facing and experiencing a lot of insecurity, but of course, you must credit this government with the fact that when it came in 2015, the Northeast, particularly Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, were under the occupation. And I use the word occupation deliberately and purposefully, under the occupation of the insurgents Boko Haram. Many of our local governments were under the control of Boko Haram. But Mr. President decidedly approached the matter, and by 2 years, we could say that Boko Haram was technically defeated, and today it's not technically defeated, but practically defeated. Our states are free, have been liberated. Of course, we experience other security issues in the northwest, in the north central, and to some extent in the southeast. Different security challenges. But aren't we doing something as an administration? We are doing so much, and our armed forces are sacrificing everything with the little that we are giving them. But this is the administration that has spent so much resources in the armed forces to ensure that we secure the country. Mr. President promised several times that before he leaves in May 2023, he would ensure that he leaves behind a more and better secured Nigeria. And the best and only and most logical thing to do for us in the National Assembly is to also participate in that enterprise of ensuring that we provide resources for the armed forces and other security agencies to continue to fight the insecurity that we face. And it's something that is doable. It's a matter of determination. And I'm taking this opportunity here to appeal to all Nigerians that we must at all times support our armed forces. At all times identify with what they are doing. These are people who give their lives. Some of them lose their lives, some are maimed, lose their limbs, and therefore they deserve not only empathy, but the kind of support that will give them the sense that the citizens are behind them. And I believe that that's going to go a long way in making them feel that we are in this thing together. So I deliberately said we are supporting Mr. President, and we have been supporting him really. And we are also going to donate to the appeal fund, but it's not something that I will announce here. National Assembly is a democratic institution, it's a legislature. I will consult with my colleagues in the National Assembly, and we will make our announcement from the headquarters of the Nigerian legislature, the National Assembly complex. Thank you very much, and you are doing a very good job yourself.